Good morning. Paul, you're playing some awesome music here. Good morning, Detroit. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Paul's in the mood. I'm in the mood. I'm Harvey Freed, giving you 1 hour of mortgage and real estate. Of course, my co-host, the one and wonderful Becky Alley. Good morning.
What is going on? And thank you, Paul, for that lovely Christmas music. I'm here for that. Okay.
Yeah, Ronald LaCasse joins us, of course, from Brookstone Realty. Ron, I only known you for 40 years, and good morning, and thanks for coming in this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we were catching up on the lovely Allen Park area, Wyandotte, all the things that are going on in real estate, but Downriver specifically we were talking about before the show.
Becky, we're wrapping up 2025, our last show of 2025, our 46th show, I believe, of 2025. We are going to be back. We got to announce that. We will be back in 2026 for our 26th year of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, giving Metro Detroit and all the listeners across the globe, of course, because you can see us everywhere, on the Facebook Live, of course. We're giving you great information about mortgages and real estate. And Ron, we're going to dive into a couple of things that we started talking about this morning. Of course, he wouldn't be a real estate agent, Becky, if he didn't start asking about rates and all that kind of stuff this morning. But we dove into some other things, too. So we'll talk about appraisals and what families can do to prepare their house to get it sold on the marketplace. And also, I think, just a few things you talked about already, Ron. I'm like, she did what? He did what? Again, people need these kind of shows, just some sort of direction. Becky, as we see so many of the younger folks still clicking buttons on trying to get a mortgage, you don't have a direct person to contact or give you information. I think you're cutting yourself short there. Yeah,
I mean, I was just on a real estate panel yesterday. It was like a holiday edition, but we talked about like deal killers and, the little things that go on during transactions that people don't really publicize, right? You're going to see that quote or that post from the loan officer that's clear to close in 8 days. And yes, I just had a clear to close, start to finish from pre-approval to purchase agreement. I just did the same thing 8 days, 8 business days. It was strong right at the end of the year, got them in home for the holidays, right? But then what people don't really publicize are those things that go a little bit to the left after you're under contract. Someone you pre-approved maybe 3 months ago, now it's Christmas time. You have a bunch of buy now, pay later, listed on their credit report. And now they're under contract and a couple of months have went by since we've updated some things. And now they have these undisclosed debts that are showing on their credit report that we have to now adjust for, and it could affect someone's affordability, right? So these are all things that we are constantly talking. We don't just play loan officers on the radio. We really do this for a living. And the stuff that we say is, basically just to give the consumer some guidance, and even the real estate side of things, right? That there are some things that come up, but if you're with a strong loan officer and a strong real estate professional that's going to guide the buyer through the start to finish process, it doesn't have to be this big scary thing. Even if something does go sideways, you can fix it.
It's been so fun working with a lot of younger families this year also, or first-time home buyers. Ron, we see a plethora of first-time home buyers lately. Again, you've been around for 40 years. You've got a lot of repeat buyers, but the young people can get in. There's things out there now that we didn't have. And again, I'm not going to age ours. We're not going to age myself or you this morning, but the down payment assistance programs truly allow openings and open door for a lot of more families to get into housing. Becky, we'll talk about that too a little bit. The MISHDA program still off and running in a great direction, $10,000. So let's dive into, we got the MISHDA program, National Faith, Chinoa Loans. Those are all great programs.
I mean, what you're really saying, though, Harvey, is like that's life-changing money for a buyer. That's, one of the biggest hurdles that any loan officer is going to come into play is assets. Where's the money coming from for closing? If someone doesn't have a house to sell or they don't have, I call it birth lottery money, maybe a family member is not gifting them money, their down payment assistance programs are here to help. And we actually just wrapped one where, they're a first-time buyer in their whole lineage of family, and a first-time buyer is described as someone that hasn't owned real estate in the last 3 years. She's getting $25,000. Now you're putting 20% down as a first-time buyer. You're using, and it's something that you don't have to pay back as long as you don't sell or refinance. I mean, so there is something for everybody. We're not a cookie cutter lender, and you have to be able to give customized details and a customized plan to each individual buyer, because my GPS is not going to get you where you're going, Harvey.
Ron, give me some feedback on where we're going with this morning.
That's all good. Obviously, MISHDA does have one caveat of helping people, but the negative is obviously they have to pay that back if they close within before the 30-year loan's up. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so the down payment assistance, that's why I said unless you sell or refinance, right? But you got to understand though that like that $10,000 that you're saving now cash, you're in hindsight, it's
Equity.
being repaid back in equity. So as I describe it to someone, if you at the time of us doing a refinance, you owe $100,000 that you can visually see on your mortgage statement. When we order that payoff, it's coming back 110. So again, you have to be with skilled professionals that know these programs and know what to happen.
I've got one more idea for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, seller concessions.
Yes, we like sellers concessions,
Okay,
and
so-
we're seeing that. Are you seeing that with your offers lately? Again, I know
I've got one right now on my table that I'm trying to put together and present to the seller, and they up the price. And I think I got to look at the comps, make sure the value's there. Fun stuff about appraisals, right?
Yeah.
And see how the seller is okay with this, and if that $10,000, obviously, if the lender will take 10 grand from the seller and allow that, we're good to go.
So I'm glad you brought up seller concessions because we've been talking about this like all year, how this is the most buyer-seller market that we've seen in a really long time. On paper, with the lack of inventory, it's technically a seller's market. But, you know, I've been in the business. I started being a loan officer in 2004. Okay, so what I'm seeing is the progression of this year specifically. It's going back to that old school lending.
You're right.
It is, and there's some people in the industry that have never experienced that. You know, there used to be a moment where you mentioned concessions or buying contingent, and people are going to clinch their pearls and act like you look like you're from Mars. Whereas now, if you know how to, put together a transaction that works like that, you now have a skill set that most people don't even understand what that even means.
That's probably right.
We like the win-win situations, as you mentioned, Ryan. You're going to go back. You're going to say to the sellers, hey, the other homes in the neighborhood sold. There's a couple here. And we've been pretty favorable with appraisals. We might dive into a little appraisal talk this morning. I know a couple of the appraisers out there. They'll be calling in if we do.
They're like, what?
Yeah, 248-539-9797. Well, one of the things even about today's market is when we started talking this morning, you said, Harvey, what's the interest rates going on? What's really going on out there? And they're in the low sixes in that area. Of course, variables are the loan to value, how much money someone's putting down, their credit score. Then you said, well, where are all the buyers? Where is everybody? So we all think in the real estate world right now, they're coming. We feel like that tidal wave is on its way, and we're sure hoping that 2026 is going to bring a lot more buyers out. Becky, that leads to us to tell us, all the listeners out there, that the next 60 days are very valuable. If you're thinking about buying a house, Ron, and you don't want to overbid, you don't want to go over asking, you don't have a lot of money you're working with, we've got about a 60 to 90 day window here before the 2026 prices kick in.
Ooh, okay. So my prediction, no one's asked me yet, so I'm going to just give it to you now.
Just give it to us.
2026 is going to be busy. You know, collectively the market was down 30%, but the people that do business are always going to do business. So that is what it is. But I think that with the rates trending in a downward position, just because the Fed is announcing they're reducing the Fed funds rate, that doesn't necessarily correlate to mortgage rates. Inflation does, right? That's more of a direct line if you were to look at it. But because of that interest rate reduction, I do think that sellers are finally, that have been on the fence, they're going to start, foregoing those interest rates because they feel like the rates are a little bit more tangible in comparison to what they have right now. I do think we're going to see some inventory. Buyers are already, there's a little bit of a pause, but I think there's going to be a whole new set of buyers coming in the market. And I do think 2026 is going to be a very, very, very busy time between refinances, new inventory, buyers coming off the fence. I think whoever was kind of waiting around, it's happening. But
I like it.
in Michigan, you have that like natural thing in our minds. You're like, I'm going to wait until March. And I don't understand it because right now you can really, really, really win at a transaction. I mean, there's properties that are really, really nice, even in Brownstown, that have been sitting for 30 days and there's really nothing wrong with the property. It's just, it's weird. And then you have other houses that go like right away. So it's very weird, the mentality that's out there. But I also think, you'll tell me this, Ron, market or the price dictates what the market's really doing. You know what, if the house is overpriced.
Well, obviously the consumer today definitely knows if the house is overpriced because of so much is out there on the internet today. So they know the values and they know what's going on. They know what they want too.
Yes.
If they're a good buyer. And there's just not a lot of buyers on the market today. Why? And like, I'm hoping she's right on everything she's predicting. it's everyone's on the fence. Why? I don't have that answer. I wish I did. I had the
Seasonally-
crystal ball, right?
Yeah, I think that
We'll get you.
there's just a lot of apprehension. I mean, but you see these waves where it's like where, like when the rates went up to the sevens, we'll say, mid sevens, right? When there
There were still deals.
Yes, there were still transactions, but people did pause. If you think about it, there was a pause, and everything that we do in real estate and mortgages, it's 30 to 60, 90 days behind that small breath of air that people kind of like are holding in, right?
Yep.
So now that people are like, they're seeing the rates are going to drop. I'm going to wait till the rates drop. I'm going to wait till the rates drop, right? We're here. We're already here. And you have to focus on, if you're a buyer, even like a step up buyer, step down buyer, the focus is you're locking in the price of the home, because everything that we've been saying is happening. You lock in the price of the home, you can always slide down with that interest rate. But that same house that you waited for this year, it still went up even 3% in some
Right.
areas, 5% in some areas. It depends on what city. Southgate, I think, was up like 8% this year, right? Specifically. So
Depends on the city. Yeah.
yeah, it depends on the city, but it's been still an appreciating market. So if you are locking in the price of the home at a certain interest rate, that Harvey Good is going to be so good at identifying a price and a payment that you can afford. When these rates drop, you can refinance, and it doesn't have to be costly at all, actually.
A number of sellers have delisted their house. I don't know, or we're hearing the phone calls, and then there's a number of them that are like, nah, that'd be the worst play ever. I think, but the fact that your house might be a little bit less in value right now because there's so few buyers out there, just because of the season, just because right now it's a little shut down after Thanksgiving. When, of course, next Thursday coming up, it's already Christmas time. So just naturally a little bit slower. And then we did have some freezing temperatures around here too. So when we get back, we're going to talk about that. Whose homes are on the marketplace? And if you're a seller now and you're thinking about buying up, it's really going to benefit you. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We're going to take your calls. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Well, Paul, you're just playing all Christmas stuff. I love it. Sit back and enjoy here as we open up the broadcast live here on 97.1 The Ticket. Lots of sports coming up after us. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show in our 25th year, ending our last show of 2025.
It's wild.
Congratulations, everyone who bought housing this year.
Yeah.
And all the folks now are starting to refinance, Becky, which is really great. We're seeing clients from 2024 and the last couple of years as the rates obviously went up after the pandemic. And there's opportunities now. And we talked about down payment assistance program that, and Ron, you threw it out there. Of course, Ronald LaCasse joins us from Brookstone Realty. 40 years experience, nice mellow guy. And if you have any questions, give us a call, 248-539-97. But Becky, lots of things out there and opportunities to buy a house. Even the Mishta loan, though, there's been so much equity and you threw it out there. You buy a house, you get into the property goes up in value over the next couple of years. Now you have that equity, you can refinance, pay off the Mishta loan that you borrowed. The other down payment assistance programs, they don't even have to be repaid. I offered a lady, first-time buyer. She did the Chenoa loan, Becky, and we did she's going to pay it on time for 3 years. You make 36 months payment. She got 3.5% down payment assistance, and she doesn't have to repay it. So some of the down payment programs, you don't have to repay anything.
No, and you do not have to be a first-time buyer either. That's where there's that huge misconception on some of these programs that are out there.
You're right about that.
There is something for everybody, and we understand that sometimes, like, you have to start over. Maybe there was a divorce and you have to buy someone out. Maybe you don't have the cash on hand, for one of those reasons, right? There's a way to get you into home ownership. You just have to talk to the right people, because if someone says no to you and they don't explain why, then you need to talk to someone that's going to have a high level conversation with you, because you don't have to be a first time buyer. You don't have to pay some of this back when you refinance, but it's all about making sure you have a program that suits you, not just right now, but also what are you doing 5 months, 5 years down the road. And that's where I feel like people get lost, is they become so transactional that
they need to find out what they need to do.
Yeah.
For if it's a 6-month plan, a 1-year plan, if they really want to own a home, they can do it. They just have to get the answers of why, what they have to do to fix their credit, how, if that's the issue, or whatever it's going to take for them to get a loan so they can buy a home, because renting is not a good thing.
No, I call it's like divorcing rent, right? And I say it often, like,
I like that line.
Yeah, divorce rent, and park your car in your own driveway, man.
You got to take control of your own life and have a house. Always got to have. Everyone has to have a roof over their head, correct?
Yeah, and renting makes sense. There's a time and place for everything.
Right.
And we're big advocates on helping you build your real estate portfolio. So you actually could be someone's landlord, and that's fine. So renting has a time and place, but we are always going to advocate for people to have their own real estate and build their portfolio that way, because think about it, like all the different markets we've seen, right? Even just the ones I've seen in the last 23 years, right? It has been like such an evolution, but it's always the same at the same time.
We always talk about...
It's different, but it's the same.
Absolutely. We talk about being prepared and how important it is. And no matter what you do in life, it's a great lesson for the next year is getting prepared, preparing yourself for what might be coming next and your future. You mentioned, you're like, hey, Harvey, I might be retiring soon enough. But you're preparing yourself for that, and you're doing still a lot of business and keeping active. But there's no doubt being prepared gives you an opportunity to negotiate a little bit more with your interest rate, having that planning, sitting down with real professionals. We hear the story still, Ron. You brought one in this morning. I can't drop any names, but someone that I actually know wanting to buy a house. So obviously they spent money on appraisal. They might have spent money on home inspection. So now we're talking closer to a sewer line inspection, closer to $1,000 or over $1,000. And now you have to kill the deal because they weren't truly prepared. I don't see it often. If you call us, it never happens. We are really adamant about getting those documents up front, Becky. And
we're kind of like psychotic about it.
We are. And if your lender's not doing that with you, if you have a pre-approval document in your hand and you never submitted any documentation to support that, it's not going to work. It just doesn't. So we see this often still. So
we hear it.
We hear about it.
We hear it. Yeah. So something to that point
you don't do it.
Yeah, we hear it. So like at a point would be, what happens out there is you get a phone call from someone and say, I need a pre-approval in 5 minutes. Okay. No one is doing any bona fide pre-approval in 5 minutes. It's literally impossible.
What's your timeline?
It's, so from a start to finish.
I called you right now.
Okay, right now. So if it's prepared and you do everything within, and so this happened on a Sunday. I had someone, I talked to someone on a Sunday at 3:00. By 4:00, I had all their documentation, pre-approval in hand, and by 6:00 that evening, we had an offer accepted.
So it could be that fast.
It can be that fast.
As
but
long
our
as
efficiency
the biggest thing
is contingent.
the person that's the buyer or buyers, they're getting the stuff they need for you, because that's the thing.
Yes.
They have to get you that information.
Yes.
And if they don't do that, we can't get the loan, can you? Or they can't buy the house.
Correct. And in that situation, the real estate agent was experienced like yourself. And they said, hey, if we're trying to get this offer accepted today, whatever Becky says she needs, you need to get that to her, because my efficiency is contingent upon how quickly someone can get this to me. And the other opposite end of that is I was talking to a real estate agent and someone did a quick 5-second pre-approval, and they got their offer accepted, and the person didn't really ever look at the credit, and they gave them a conventional pre-approval, and they had a bankruptcy within 2 years, and that pre-approval was not worth the piece of paper it was written on, and they had to completely change everything. So
keep getting those phone calls too. 248-539-9797. An agent will call me up every now and then and say, boy, Harvey, can you pull something off? And I'm like, well, what happened? And sure enough, there's a pre-approval there where they were clicking buttons, not dealing with real direct people, not truly having an approval letter where they can close within 30 days. Ron is an agent over 40 years. That's one of the things. You have to go to the sellers. We already talked about it this morning. You're presenting an offer to the seller, and you're preparing them for their move, because usually the house has stuff in it, so they have to move. It might be a situation where someone died. It might be a divorce situation. Families it's all about preparation. Anything you do, again, the Detroit Lions football game tomorrow. Yeah, they practiced this week. They're preparing for the Pittsburgh game. And the day after, or that night, after we win tomorrow, after the Lions beat the Steelers tomorrow, they'll be preparing for the Thursday game against Minnesota.
I got one for you. How about a seller? Hey, I want to sell my house today. I want it on the market. I want it gone. Okay, well, Mr. Seller, where are you going? Oh, I don't know. If you don't know where you're going, how am I going to sell your house? I had one just recently do that. I go, hey, Matt, what are you doing? Where are you going to go?
Yeah, where are you going? He's living with you.
I got to figure that out. I go, yeah. So when you're ready to let me know. I'm not going to list your house till you know where you're going.
So what was the? I mean, what was the reason? When you're like, I got to sell right now, but I don't know where I'm going.
He's just not happy where he is. He wants to change his life, but again, preparing. And where are you going?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go rent, great. If you're going to go buy somewhere else or live somewhere else, great. But if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to move forward?
Real estate's always been emotional. There's just so many emotions about it, because it's a house, it's a roof over your head, and you come home that one day and you go to pull up in your driveway and someone's blocking your driveway, or
I've had that happen.
Yeah, that happens. So you get angry. Hey, I'm out of here.
Recently, I had to call the police, but another
overreactions. Hey, I can't pull up in my driveway, but I'm going to sell tomorrow. But again, getting your house prepared, as you know, Ron, you'll go to a house that somebody's really motivated to sell, and your first step, of course, is to say, look, I came up, your door's got peeling paint on it. The landscape, if it's a spring or summertime when you can see the landscape, it's not desirable. And how important is that first impression? And then, of course, once they get in the house, you want to make sure that house is really presenting itself so that they maximize the profit.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I have one on the market right now where the seller actually thinks it's worth a lot more because it needs a lot of work. And I'm like, what are you doing? Okay, fine, but it's not going to sell for what you want it for, because other homes in that neighborhood are going for this, but your house needs all this. They didn't need all that.
Right.
Meaning repairs, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what are you going to do?
Do
you not take the listing, or it's a vacant house, family, inherited? Do you write it out? You explain it to them. You lay it out on the table. You show them the numbers. Here's the comparables. So you just ride with it. Obviously, to get a mortgage on this can be very difficult, because you don't have a functioning this or functioning that, or finished flooring or safety. And so that's a fun one too.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the investors are looking for a deal, and that's what the great agents are doing. They're actually going out and saying, wait a minute, I checked out this new listing here. There's a great opportunity. It's listed a little on the high side. Maybe they're in a position to negotiate, because they obviously know the home hasn't been updated in the last 20, 30, or 50 years.
Definitely.
All right. We're up to hear the music again. He keeps playing that beautiful Christmas music.
I know. Yeah. He's giving me, like, what is this? Like the orchestra? Like whatever. What are they? Yeah.
The Siberian, what is it?
Yeah, Siberian Orchestra.
Okay. We don't even know what that is. All right. You're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We're going to take your calls when we come back. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All righty, welcome back. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We got 2 more segments here in 2025. And, of course, this time of year is so joyful, and I'm having a great time.
This year flew by.
What's that?
This year flew by.
It did fly by. I like that. Yeah.
It did fly by. But you know what? Actually, you might still be able to get home for the holidays, okay? And if we can't get you home for the holidays, we can get you home for Valentine's Day. If 2026, you want to throw your hat into home ownership, you got to have a phone call right now. Call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. Call Harvey. Let us kind of advocate for you and, get you set up with Ron and have those conversations because you don't know what you don't know. But if you're in a situation that you don't like your client you just described, and you're one decision away from changing your life, part of that is having a conversation so that way we can see what you qualify for. Can we get you in a specific program? And can we get you into a home that you don't own right now but want to?
And things are definitely jamming here around. Let's talk about here the Midwest. It's busy now still. I mean, there has been a great year. Again, less affordable with the higher rates, but now we're at the lower rates, so things are even more affordable.
Prices have come down in certain cities, that's for sure. Reduction on listings because there's enough buyers coming in to buy them, obviously. I'm not saying they're overpriced. There has been appraisal problems on values on a lot of properties because they were overpriced probably.
But yes, and that coming, they have to come to terms.
Yeah, and but hey, I'll go back to what I said earlier. You got to have everything together, all your documents together. You got to get everything together if that's what you want to do. Get the loan, get the pre-approval, and then obviously you can contact a great realtor like me, and I'll be happy to assist. Answer all the questions. People don't ask, they don't find out, and there are so many people that don't understand what it takes to really buy a house out there today at all.
Yeah, a lot of times
That's
I'll
true.
talk to some first-time home buyers, and their first question, of course, they always want to go right to the mortgage rate. And if you don't know the calculation, it doesn't matter what the rate is. And then I'll say, well, give me one more question. And they really don't have another question, which that's our job. It's our job. No matter what we do in life, we want to know more about it. You're ordering at a restaurant. That special sounds great. You want to know what the ingredients are, perhaps. So there's a lot more to buying a house, obviously. And we've done it so long. You can always change that interest rate. So had some different language out there regarding, you're dating, you're going to date the rate, you're going to own the house, of course. What it means is now's that opportunity for you folks that we encouraged for housing over the last couple of years when it was less affordable. You bought the house at the right price. It's gone up in value 2 years in a row. You've got lots of equity, and now's your opportunity to refinance. So we're seeing a lot of that right now.
I got 2 things on that. Okay. One is it's always affordable because it's very easy for us to identify what you can afford. So, just because you might not like what you see at what you can afford, but truly it's affordable because all these mortgages, they're well qualified. I mean, we have to really go through, not only do we do our preliminary qualifications, but then you're going through underwriting, you're doing the things, right? So these are well qualified mortgages between the down payment assistance and the overall debts and the things, right? So it is affordable. It's about finding what you can afford. That's really what the conversation is.
Matching those two. You got to what the buyer is looking for and can afford with the loan, pre-approval. And I mean, that's what a realtor like me would help someone do.
Yes, and then you mentioned something, Ron. You said, people don't know what it's like to go, to purchase a house, right? What it's
Correct.
truly like. So
they have no idea. Half of them
what would be like 2
you.
things, okay, that is a common cadence that you if you could deprogram someone of that mental state, or just 2 things that you see as a problematic thing in our industry that you could correct, or that misconception?
We've already been touching on it. Finding out what they can afford by calling a professional mortgage company like Capital Mortgage Funding and finding out exactly what can I afford. And if I can't get that loan is because of whatever is on their credit or whatever situation they're involved in, of their proof of income, proof of whatever it may be, that's where they've got to get it figured out. And then timeline. Hey, what do we got to do to get that to that goal of getting that pre-approval letter? And if they have to work at it. I mean, obviously, unless they are perfectly a 90, 900 score on the credit credit
even
score,
then, you still got to submit documents.
Else, and they got 20 grand in the bank, and they've been at their job 3 years. Like, there's no perfect scenario for anybody. We don't live, it's very difficult to live that perfect life. Those things do pop up in our lives.
It's probably about 50-50 that 50% of the transactions that we get to see, you're fine. 50% of the transactions we see, they have the funds to close. They've been on the job. They everything matches.
Right.
And those are the easier transactions.
Sure.
I'm up for a challenge, though. We get a lot of clients
It's a
that have
blessing and a
variable
curse. I
incomes.
feel like I
Yeah.
get the challenges.
No,
Okay.
we get them. You're going to get them if you're calling out there. And again, it's our job to prepare you for home ownership. So one of the things is, obviously, is the credit situation. And a lady called me yesterday, and she needs a mortgage to pay off her ex-husband. And the income, just in the conversation says, I'm not looking for any cash out. And actually, I said, yeah, you are. You just told me you had a $9,000 credit card. So we're already pulling equity out of a house due to a divorce situation. And I said, this is your opportunity. If we can get you a mortgage, we're going to get one for even a little bit more. And she said, well, why would we do that? I said, because you're paying 25% on your credit card. And we get the always, oh, okay, now I get it. So a lot of different situations, if you have that professional, it goes from what they're thinking is the right way to go ahead and move forward, and then we show them another way that'll save them more money for the future. It's just not everyone's situation's the same.
Yeah, you have to be open to other possibilities, right? And even, the people that are in the industry, sometimes they get really stuck in their tunnel vision of what they think is best. And I'm going to look at someone's credit report, look at it one way. He's going to see someone's credit report, look at something different. But, the real skill set in this industry is being able to pull it apart,
That's true.
see it in this non-emotional way, but also, if it makes sense, be able to explain that to the consumer, because they don't understand. And you don't want to put someone in a position where you're just bulldozing them and they have no idea what's happening. Because a lot of times, even on the purchase side of things, someone might be, I didn't maybe help them buy their first house, but I'm helping them buy their second house, and they have no idea what they did the first time. It's like they're doing it all over again, because it was just such a moment in time where they didn't know where they were going. It was 2020. You had to buy unseen, just look at it. I found a house online. I want to buy it. It was wild, but
That seems like a long time ago.
it was,
already.
but it was I can't believe that even happened. But now, and you even mentioned in the earlier segment, people are more savvy. We're walking around with PhDs in our pockets with our phones, and and I think
True.
it's a good thing. But there's also a lot of as much as the buyers are educating themselves on their phone, there is a lot of misinformation out there too.
Yeah, tons
and
of
we're in a people business, and you really have to align yourself with someone that has been doing this, that is boots on the ground, that is not someone that's just clicking buttons and they're at a phone center just slinging the things, because then they might be paying off a credit card or two that maybe it doesn't make sense for them to do that. There's always a situation where it's situational, I guess. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to pay off debt, sometimes it does, but you have to look at it, not just what's happening right now, but where are you going 5 years down the road and how it's going to affect you.
Alrighty, 248-539-9797. Take your calls live up till 9 o'clock. Mark Ryan will be taking over the airways right after that. He's on his way into the studio here. And, of course, Red Wing Hockey at 12:30, so the pregame will start just a little after 12 o'clock.
We're due for a title on one of our teams. I mean, we're just
someone's going to win it all.
Yeah.
All right,
it's been Lions going to the Super Bowl. I feel like for the last 20 years, I've been saying good, bad, ugly. Even when they didn't even win any games, I'm like, this is the year.
Yeah, if you're looking for something to do, what a blast. Get down to Little Caesars Arena here this afternoon, because there's still some tickets available. I saw there's some tickets available. What a great vibe here across Metro Detroit. Of course, the Lions are at home tomorrow. The tailgaters will be out.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Boonton.
Detroit is a vibe when you're down there.
It is happening.
Even
Love
if it's
it.
a home
Love
game,
it.
not a home game, it is just, it's electric in Detroit right now. It really is. Even just what they've done with Hudson's and that opening, and then that whole area and the Christmas and the ice skating, if you can hear us and you've never been to Detroit, okay. But it's, it is definitely all the things that it needs to be. Even when I was in New York recently, in Chicago recently, and Detroit is where it's at. It might be because it's my hometown, but it's walkable, it's exciting. There's just there's a certain energy that I feel like Detroit has that you're not getting in other cities.
They're out there at 6 degrees. Weather,
Yeah.
Tailgating the last football game. I'm like, what? I'm going inside.
Yeah, my eyeballs felt like they're going to freeze open. But people are like, yeah.
Affordability is the one thing, too, here. We're still extremely affordable here all across Southeast Michigan. So definitely, if you're thinking about home ownership, ring us up at 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's Capital Mortgage Funny. You can find Becky and myself there all week long. We're against our last break here. We're going to come back with all sorts of mortgage and real estate information. If you got a call, give us a call here at 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All right.
That's crazy, right?
Got in our last segment here on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Another 10 minutes or so of 2025, Becky. I'm never busy enough, but it was an exciting year, 2025. We can never do enough transactions, but definitely had some really great, really exciting stories as families got into housing, whether you're a first-time home buyer or it was your second or third home. And again, there's always a reason. So someone says, well, things are slower now on the sell side. Well, good. Then when you sell your house, you'll make less money. When you buy up, that house will be a little bit less money for you. So again, sometimes you sell your house for a little less, but the one you buy is a little less also, so it's a win-win.
Like, what is a little less? I mean, really? I mean, it's still appreciating, depending on when you bought it. Like, even the people that bought, let's just say in the last 5 years, what they bought it for and where they are now, it's still more than what they bought it for. We've been in an appreciating market for some time now. So it's, if the house, it's like, again, if you buy a $200,000 house, in theory, 5% appreciation, that means that's $10,000 that you just naturally acquired by doing nothing but putting money in your own pocket and paying your own rent per se, not putting your hat in the ring, right? So if homeownership is something that you want to acquire or attain in 2026, you have to have the conversations right now. Can we talk to you today and possibly get you closed by the first week of January? Yes, we can do that. But again, Ron hit it. You have to be efficient in getting your documentation. It doesn't have to be this long drawn out thing, but at the end of the day, it really is your timeline. If you want this to take 6 months, it's going to take 6 months. If you want it to take 2 weeks, we can get it done in 2 weeks. It's all about what is your pain points, what are you running away from, and what are you running to? And you have to know where both of those are going. You got to know where you're from and where you're going so we can get you there. You got to help us, right?
And Ron, some new opportunities out there, these DSCR loans, the debt servicing cover ratio loan, which makes it affordable for even more investors. So a lot of families out there want to dip their toes into today's marketplace. Again, Metro Detroit being a very affordable, all over the state of Michigan, and some other states also are so affordable. There's some families out there that say, look, I want to diversify my portfolio. I want to diversify my future. I want to own a rental or two. And I've had some really great stories there. A couple 2 units that were involved in Detroit this year, where the first-time home buyers are going to live in one side and rent out the others.
I was just going to hit on that. That's exactly.
That's house hacking.
When I got divorced, I literally bought a 2-family and I rented out the upstairs to pay my mortgage payment. I was living downstairs. Mm-hmm. I still own that home today. It's rented out, both floors. So now I became a landlord.
When did you buy that? When did you buy it? Let's use that as an example.
1979.
Son of a
look at you.
89.
So think about that. You are already ahead of the game because people are just now realizing those things. And, and the commonality or the common theme is there's a reason why the investor does not care what the interest rate is, truly. I mean, they do a little bit because they want to make sure they're cash flowing the property. But, someone that's going to occupy the house, they're sitting on the sidelines over a 0.25 difference in the rate that might have a $30 difference in their payment, while the investor is not really even taking that in consideration because they know eventually they're going to refinance and, whatever they're going to do. They even pull cash out so they can buy other investment properties.
True.
And because we're a national lender, we're licensed in all 50 states. We're very aware of what's happening, not only in our backyard, but nationally. And I will say there are people all over the nation that are knocking on Michigan's doors to acquire these properties because there's certain cities that are very unaffordable. I sat next to a couple. New York, for example, they are moving to Michigan because they feel like they're getting a closet size space for $300,000 a month where they can get a whole house for $3,000 a month, and actually probably less than that for what they're trying to do. So, just nationally and then in our own backyard, you got to realize what we have in Michigan. People try to snooze on Michigan. We get all 4 seasons. Up north, it's a beautiful lake. You can get lakefront property for under $500,000, and we talk about this and because it's real. And building your and building your real estate portfolio. I mean, I'm going to be having some rentals here pretty soon. I had to lock up some things for myself personally, but that is always the goal. And the fact that you already were house hacking, what you said, 1979, that is a beautiful thing. To buy a duplex, live in one side, put minimum down of, if it was an FHA loan, you could go 3.5% down. You have someone else
on a multifamily, you can do an FHA loan. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then you have someone else living there, and then that house no longer serves your purpose. You retain it, and then you move on to the next property.
A lot of self-employed commission employees don't have these companies set up 401k, so their savings program for the future isn't what it should be, but it's a great way, again, to set yourself up for the future. I got to ask you, Ron, what did you pay for that 2-unit home?
Good. He's coming. Probably 70,000.
And what does that house go for today?
It's probably worth
253.
Question. You got me on the
What do you
spot
think?
there.
Throw me
I
a
didn't even
number
think
at
about
it.
it. I'm going to say it might be worth 220 today.
Okay, I'll take that. There's your
But
little
real estate's the
401k.
long game.
Oh, yeah, it's a
It's a
long
long
game.
game.
Yeah,
It's a long game.
And the positive is the cash flow's there. And if it wasn't there, I couldn't do it because I've done it where I've bought a property and there is no, you can't make more money on it versus what your debt is, be it a loan or whatever, the taxes, everything. So you bail out. It's like any investment, right? If people would stop buying paper and start buying a structure, you can actually have a roof, and it's actually physical. It's a great thing.
It's a great asset. All right, Harry, you're joining us. Good morning, Harry. Thanks for calling in this morning.
Hey, everybody. Thank you. What a great show. 25 years. I want to thank all our listeners, all the clients, everybody that we have. Obviously, you can tell I'm not in. My voice is killing me today. But Becky, Harvey, thank you very much for dispensing wonderful and valuable advice to the community. And I can't appreciate any more of the relationships that we have within the community, and it's been great. So voice is killing me today. Apologize for that. But I want to thank everybody out there, and I want to thank you guys, especially along with our whole staff, our whole crew, and everybody. So Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday season. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah to everybody that celebrates. And how are you guys doing this morning? You sound great on the air.
Oh, hey, Harry, things are just a standard day in Michigan, a Michigan morning here. A little cloudy, a little cold, but we got the vibe. We got the Red Wings game coming up here at 12:30, and, of course, the Lions tomorrow. So there's a good buzz all around Metro Detroit.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, everybody. And I want to call in and say, listen, on to 2026. Let's keep it rolling.
Thank you. We appreciate you, Harry, and we're all looking forward to 2026. The fact that we've been on air for 25 years, going on our 26th year, is a beautiful milestone. It's a beautiful thing, and obviously, I'm glad that we're able to continue to put out amazing information to not only our clients, but just consumers in general. Because there's one thing that I've learned is that you talk to people, but then this platform is just always opened my eyes to the fact that we're not reaching enough people. Because as you talk about, often, Harvey, that, the consumer's like, what's your rate? What's your rate? What's your rate? And there's so much more to real estate than just the rate. There's so much more to selling the house than just sticking a sign in the door, right? There's so much to buying and being a buyer's agent than just saying, here, sign this dotted line. I mean, and there's just, we cannot speak the same, terminology enough to where it's like, maybe if it just reaches one or two people each show, fine, we're just doing a slow chip away on everybody. But
teaching people do their due diligence,
sure.
and doing these important things in life. And that's what it's all about. We talk about preparation. Anything that's successful out there, it's all about the preparation on it.
If you don't do your homework, you can't move ahead.
Yep.
Well, giving people accurate advice, disseminating accurate versus inaccurate information is the key. Setting people up for success. There's so much out there in the world, misinformation. And the fact that we can clear it up and help people out.
We're up against our cut here. Folks, we'll see you in 2026. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. See you in 2026.
Good day.